Yep. We're back live, ladies and gentlemen. Back live. Oh boy, what a feeling, what a feeling. Yeah, the weather's still kind of poopy. The sun peeks out every now and again, but I don't think we're going to see much of the sun here for the next few days. That's all right. You know, don't worry about the stuff you can't control, was what my daddy always told me. Oh, welcome back, Mike's Magic Auto Detailing and paint enhancement here in good old Sharpsburg, Georgia. That picture there is of this car right here, my 98 Mustang GT. And earlier we were just talking in the first video about the little rinseless wash thing, and you can go back and review that if you like, or you can go on YouTube and Google rinseless washes. There are dozens of really good videos with various techniques on how to do that. I showed you some of my tools and stuff and things I was using earlier. Me. But what I wanted to show you guys is that I did the roof and the hood. And this is a fresh towel here. I've already put the other one in the wash bucket or the wash basket, whatever you want to call it. As you can see, the roof has turned out pretty nicely for such an old car with a really cheap Mako paint job on it. Yeah, most folks would be pretty happy with that, especially this time of year. You know, it's kind of inclement weather most of the time for many of you to want to get outside and clean up your cars. But what I wanted to show you is that on the hood, yeah, it's showing up really good there, what I'm trying to show you guys. There are basically, and I've got my gloves on, and I'll explain to you why here in just a minute. I almost always use rubber gloves, because when you're fooling with this stuff, all this car care stuff has chemicals in it, and I really don't want to absorb any more of it into my skin than I need to. And, you know, plus this time of year, and it's not much of a factor today. I've got some heavier duty ones that, you know, if you're outside messing around, getting your hands wet, they get cold, it gets to be kind of miserable. But folks, there are basically 3 types of contaminants that you get on your paint. I'll grab my handy dandy little pointer here. And at this point in time, my hood has all 3. Just because it's been sitting out and living outside for months and months and months now, and I haven't really taken care of it, which is okay. This whole car's got to be repainted at some point. But you have surface contaminants, bonded contaminants, and embedded contaminants. Surface contaminants are things like rainwater, water from a sprinkler, that sort of thing gets on your paint, and you know, anything really that, and when that stuff dries, most of the time it will either leave behind some kind of material like you see in those little spots right there, or if the water droplet itself is clean, it sits there, and any fallout that you're experiencing from the atmosphere, you know, brake dust gets in the air, all kind of stuff, it falls onto that droplet, and then when the droplet evaporates, it leaves that stuff behind, and then sitting out in the sun and this and that and the other, the cold temperatures, the hot temperatures, it bonds to your paint. And of course, surface contaminants that are just laying there that have just recently came about, those are the easiest ones to get off. Usually you can just wash those off. Once they bond to the paint, it becomes a little more difficult. I say paint, you can interchange paint and clear coat. And then if you leave them there, they will embed into the surface, which makes those are the most difficult to remove, if you can remove them at all. Sometimes they embed so deeply you don't want to go after them because you will be removing too much clear coat. I'm not overly concerned about this because this paint has an additional layer of clear coat, Optimum Clear Coat Restore on it. It also has the coating on it, and then it has the sealant over the top of the coating, which is one reason it cleaned up so easily, at least all the surface dirt and stuff that you guys saw in the earlier video. You know, that's all gone. You know, and from back here, I call the 4-foot taste. It don't look too bad. Of course, this paint is so pitiful on this hood. Not much going to help it except repainting it. But it's, I think he painted this in the backyard or something, because it's got all kind of defects that are down in it like that. I'm not sure what caused that or that, but you're not going to get rid of that except by stripping it down and repainting the car. Oh boy, boy, boy. But, you know, the sealant and coating has protected what is on there, other than from stuff like that, and has minimized any damage to the paint itself, because the coatings, the sealant, and all that are easily cleaned up relatively easily and redone, so that this hood, when I'm finished, will look quite spiffy. But, you know, washing it is only going to remove the most recent surface contaminants. We talked about that just a few minutes ago. And mine came from the rain and from overspray from sitting next to customers' vehicles, from the power washer, soaps, all that stuff that ended up being splashed over onto my car. In some cases, it was compound and polishes and that sort of thing that slung over onto my car. I wasn't really concerned about it because I know I can fix it. And so, oh, somebody's watching. I like it tells you somebody's watching, but I don't like the fact that it don't tell you who it is, and you can't go back later and look and see who it was. That's kind of disappointing, but oh well, oh well. You know what? It's a free service. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? But what I was going to tell you folks is in this little area right here, just this little area, what I did was just an attempt to see if I could improve this part of the panel. I sprayed onto it Meguiar's Wheel Brightener, which I believe you can get on the retail level. Of course, I buy it by the gallon, but it was diluted 4-to-1 with distilled water. I know what some of you are thinking. That stuff's acidic. You're spraying acid on your paint? Yep. Folks, it comes in a plastic bottle, for crying out loud. Yeah, it's strong, strong stuff, but you dilute it down. And a lot of times, the more recent water spotting you can be removed by spraying it on there, spreading it out a little bit, giving it a minute or two, and then I go back in, I mop it up with a decent or a good quality microfiber towel. That's the spray bottle I use for that stuff. It's a Merrilex spray bottle made specifically for highly acidic materials. But when I get through today, what I will do is remove the spray nozzle. I'll spray some of the ONR through it because it neutralizes that acid. In fact, after I worked that in and wiped it off, what I did, you remember we've got the rinseless wash in here, the ONR. I sprayed it on here to neutralize that, used my drying towel to remove it, and I was careful not to let it sit on plastic. It will, if it sits on plastic for very long, it could damage it, and do not let it get on your glass. It will etch glass quickly. If you don't believe it, ask my eyeglasses. I have gotten it splashback on my glasses, and I mean it etched my glasses almost immediately. So be very careful where, you know, don't get too much overspray. If you do, just get your little ONR or something like that and get it off of there. But what I'm going to have to do now to get rid of these water spottings and etchings that you see here, to get rid of those, I'm going to, first I will clay bar it again. See how much of it that removes, and then I will give it a polish, which I want to do anyway, so that I can redo the clear coat restore, blah, 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 and all that stuff. But that's what I would normally do on anybody's car. So, but you can readily see the stuff, I do believe. But you know what, like I say, you take a step or two back, it don't look too bad. You know, it's not a show car. It's not a garage queen. I drive this car all the time. And my goal is just to keep it looking as good as I possibly can most of the time. Because this paint ain't worth spending a whole lot of time on. I've spent a lot more time than I normally would. A lot of it is just experimenting and playing around just to see what I can get out of it. Because this is, I know this is Mako paint. I'm not too sure about this. Like I said, this is way worse paint than this in most places. But I just want to do a quick review for y'all and show you that, you know, the rinseless wash has removed all the surface dirt, spiffed it up really well, and that stuff leaves behind a tiny bit of protection so that if you don't have time to put whatever level of protection on here that you want to, it's okay if you're going to come back relatively soon and keep it relatively clean. All right, I do appreciate the ones of you who did stick around and came back for this second video. I appreciate it very much, very much. And trying to keep my head up. Keep on going here, folks. Please like, tag, follow, share, all that stuff. And like I said in the other video, help my algorithm out. I guess that's a good thing. All right, people, I appreciate you guys. Thank you very much.